and welcome to I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. Better said, to find where you fit. So thank you for joining me, everyone. This is a short introductory video that I'm putting together to really touch on the topic of why I find that it is so important for you to understand your spiritual importance. Your why. What are you here to accomplish in this lifetime? Additionally, I will go into in the second half of this video talking about a service that I offer on my website that is a 1-hour I Am Illuminated tarot reading that combines a deeper dive into looking at your personal individual numerology and astrological birth chart aspects and bringing that all together with a tarot reading to really illuminate for you and educate you about yourself, about your what. What are you here to spiritually accomplish? Your how. What do I have within my wheelhouse that I can utilize to help accomplish this spiritual mission or importance? And your why. What are your motivations? Why do you want to do anything at all? And what can you get out of life in understanding your why and fulfilling that? And that's really where we connect on an emotional level with ourselves as we live ourselves into life. So I'm going to start off with really talking about spiritual importance and why it's important that we understand and educate ourselves about who we are so we understand our spiritual importance. Now, spiritual importance is literally finding where you fit. It's understanding that you are a singular, individual, and truly unique puzzle piece in the greater collective puzzle that is the ever-expanding human experience. And when we start to kind of look at ourselves like that we are not just an individual going through life alone, that we are actually meant to be of service to the greater collective expansion and elevation of what each one of us can be when we all work together and we all strive to live the best possible versions of ourselves into life, that we really start to understand why we as an individual are important and how we can fulfill that need within each one of us that really feels like it wants to be of service, feels like it wants to connect, feels like it needs that recognition of self, of importance. What I work with in my practice is I work with people who are going through an existential crisis or who are starting to go down the path of existential questioning. What does that mean? That means that at some point in each one of our lives, because this is a very human quality to our experience, we will at some point question everything. We will question who we are. We will question why we are here. We will question if it is of importance. And we will also start to question all of existence in and of itself as well, the validity of how much truth do we really understand about our experience. Do what we see and feel and touch and taste, is it actually providing us with a true representation of what this all is? And what can happen when we start to go down this path of questioning ourselves and questioning our existence is that it's almost like we kind of have an out-of-body experience where we almost want to pull ourselves back, pull the lens of our lives back out of our own narrow perspective and up across kind of in this broad view of being able to see more. And we each want to see more. That is a part also of the human experience, is this yearning for knowledge, yearning for understanding. And sometimes we can get to this point where we get stuck, kind of trapped in this like out-of-body experience, out-of-body questioning, where we've pulled so far back, we don't come back down into our physical reality, and we don't become re-engaged with our life experience through what we're meant to engage with our life experience through is our own personal perspective and experience. So I work with people who have kind of gone through this level of existential questioning and and I can call it a crisis. I mean, I myself have gone through this very point where, again, we pull out so far that we are no longer emotionally engaged, because our emotional being comes directly through us understanding our spiritual self, understanding that we have to be here, present in the moment, and then also engaging actively and courageously as ourself, taking our personal spirit and living that into life. That when we pull back so far and we kind of are in this lost questioning phase of, well, who am I? And am I important? Are the actions I'm taking actually having an impact on anything? And is this even all real? Do we actually live in the Matrix? Is this a dream? Is this a simulation? And what can happen then at that point is when we're stuck in that place, there is no emotional connection to that feeling of importance. We don't see where we fit. We don't see we lose sight of what I like to say is the forest through the trees, that we see all the parts, all the things that are going on around us, but we don't actually see how we are a part of that and how we are an integral part of that. And so by really understanding and taking a deeper dive into who you are uniquely, that can help start to pull you back down in the realm of knowledge and information about, okay, I see more clearly now all these aspects of myself that are truly unique to me, that are only going to happen at this one point. You know, when we think about each one of ourselves, and I've spoken to this in other videos, that who we are in this very moment, in this moment in time, what we are, what we look like physically, where we are geographically, who we were raised by, where we were born, and all the life experiences that we've had that have led us to this singular moment in the present, this will never happen again. And that's why each one of us is a true singularity. You know, there are many people throughout time who will have similar ideas, who will have similar perspectives, but no two people will ever see the same perspective, because no two people ever see out of the same pair of eyes. No two people actually have the same spirit, the same soul. And again, you can perhaps believe in, let's say, living past lives and the same soul is carried on forward. But when we think about ourselves in this moment as a singularity, yes, we may have a soul that has carried over from other lifetimes, but that soul was different. It presented itself, it fulfilled a different need in that past lifetime, different from who you are in this present moment. And so that's really the importance that I want to underscore here in this video, is that really who you are in this present moment has its own unique importance. So what does this look like when we dive down into looking at who we are as an individual, and we start to kind of pull ourselves back from this kind of ethereal questioning? We pull ourselves back into, wait, I'm meant to be here as a physical being in this experience, in the way that I am, just like all of these other people are as well. Okay, well, what am I meant? What part of this greater picture am I meant to help elevate and grow? Now, this can look like starting to discover that you are perhaps someone who is meant to be a builder, or a teacher, or a storyteller. And you start to see, okay, if I am a builder, then everything that I do should have some correlation to building. And what does that look like? That means that when you start to understand that that is kind of the realm of the part of the greater existence that we are meant to fulfill, you can think of it this way. If you are meant to be a builder, then someone else is meant to be someone who actually breaks things down or demolishes something. When you think about it like that, there's always a balance in life. There'll always be dark for light. There'll be, something small for big. And so whatever you are, there's someone out there who is equally meant to be the opposite. And so when we choose not to fulfill the role with awareness that we are meant to fulfill, we can actually create an imbalance in the entire collective experience. Because then the person who is choosing to be the person who demolishes something or breaks something down isn't balanced by the person who's also building something new. So that's gives you an idea of why it's important for us to understand kind of the underlying fit. Now, when I say that, let's say you are meant to be a builder, it doesn't mean that you are meant to literally be an architect who builds buildings, or that you have to work in construction to actually, build something on that level. It means that what you strive to do, what you are here to spiritually accomplish, is around the building of something new. Now, this could be the building of a business. This could even be the building of a family. This could be the building of new structures that help elevate, let's say, a workplace environment. But in understanding first that this is what you're here to spiritually accomplish, it helps you then start to narrow down your ability to find areas that will bring fulfillment. Find areas, it allows you to actually help you focus in what you're doing day to day with a better understanding of how to manage your time, how to make those decisions between this option and this option, because you are taking a look now from a place of knowledge about yourself, and you can turn that then into wisdom of understanding, okay, if I'm being presented with two, let's say, work opportunities, well, what is more in the realm of allowing me to express my need to build? What will allow me to be able to better harness that and live that into life, live that into this existence? And so it really helps you focus more in that you're not wasting time kind of waffling back and forth, where we tend to spend a lot of time when we don't really know about ourselves. We're like, should we choose this option, or should I choose that option, or should I live there, or should I do this? And we end up, that's really how we can then kind of go down the rabbit hole of existential questioning, because we sit there and think we don't have the answers. And so we kind of start to kind of pull back and pull back and pull back and realize, no, the answers are here within us. We have an intuition for a reason. We are called to do things for a reason. And it isn't just because or whatever. It is specifically tied to something within you, a need that needs not only to be fulfilled for yourself, but a need that needs to be fulfilled for the greater collective experience. Now, the same could be said, let's say, if you find out that you are meant to be a teacher. So for every person who's meant to be a teacher, there is somebody who is meant to be the forever student, meaning the person who is meant to constantly be finding ways to gain additional areas of knowledge. So this is somebody who is always kind of out there looking and seeking. And conversely, there'll be somebody who is out there looking to impart knowledge. Instead of seek knowledge, they're looking to impart knowledge. And so in understanding that you're meant to be a teacher, now this doesn't look like you have to literally be like, let's say, an elementary school teacher or a college professor. This could look more like what you're doing, you put yourself into the realm of teaching. So maybe in your workplace, you look to move up into upper management, because as part of upper management, you are a mentor. You are somebody who teaches others about how to do the job that you are helping manage. Or you are somebody who realizes that in your family unit, you are meant to help teach others in the family unit how to maybe work together in a more efficient and loving way. Or you're meant, and again, when we start to understand kind of the broader aspect of the role that we're here to fulfill, we start to see and open ourselves up to the opportunities of expressing that. So we really get into the realm of self-expression and being able to authentically express ourselves. Now, we can go a little bit deeper than that. And that once you understand, okay, well, where am I meant to teach? Or where, okay, now I know I'm a teacher or I'm a builder. Now I can start to kind of dive a little deeper into finding some niche, some aspect that ties directly to me as a singularity. So maybe you find an avenue of teaching something that's very specific to you. I find that YouTube is exactly the realm for this, where you might have a love of wood carving and you want to impart your knowledge and expertise on wood carving. And so you create many different little videos teaching people how to wood carve. Now, again, it's showing that it doesn't mean that you have to be an elementary school teacher. You're just choosing to fulfill that spiritual need in yourself that is teaching. Now, I'm going to kind of combine this now with moving into what my I Am Illuminated 1 hour reading does and helps illuminate. So in that reading, I take a look first at your numerology, which we look at your life path number, your expression number, and your soul's urge number. And I combine that with taking a look at your astrological birth chart, that we will look at your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, and then your Mars, Mercury, and Venus placements. And I combine those together to show basically the multifaceted quality of who you are. Now, I am going to walk through the life path number, the expression number, and the soul's urge number so you guys understand why I work with those numbers and why I find that they are so illuminating. But I'm not going to describe in this video how I calculate those. I'm going to put a link down below to a couple different sites that I find really call out the calculations very clearly. So you can click on there if you want to do your own calculations for yourself. And then I'll also have a link down there as well for you to be able to generate a free astrological birth chart, site that I use all the time as well. So to get into this, as part of understanding and starting to find, okay, where do I fit, and starting to kind of narrow down, what part of the greater collective experience am I meant to grow and elevate and stabilize, that I look at your life path number. Now, your life path number is really, it calls out your what. What are you here to spiritually accomplish? Meaning it kind of finds that place. That it's not ultimately your puzzle piece. It's where on the board does your puzzle piece fit somewhere in there. And so this would look like, so I'll give you an example. So the life path number is based on your birth month, date, and year. And you add up all those numbers and you reduce them down to a single digit, unless it is a master number 11, 22, or 33. Those are the only three numbers, double digit numbers, that don't get reduced down to a single digit. But I'm going to utilize my numbers as an example. So my life path number is a master number 11, which is a number that really speaks to kind of opening the door to walking a spiritual path, meaning that I am here to help elevate the human existence, the collective experience. I am here to work with the spiritual realm, with helping stabilize that aspect for all of those who choose not to work with the spiritual side of our experience. So what can this look like? This can look like doing exactly what I'm doing here, working with people who need spiritual coaching, working with people who are going through existential questioning. It can look like me choosing to go into organized religion and choose to be a priest or a pastor or somebody who coaches on that level. It can also look like me diving into the realm of creativity and expressing what's within our souls on a spiritual level through the creation of artistic work that comes from the imagination. Because there is this realm of understanding that when we work with our imagination and we pull into, we work with these ideas that kind of come in out of nowhere, they're not coming in out of nowhere. They're coming in from spirit. They're coming in from the source of what animates us. And so in working with that as well, that's an avenue of working within the spiritual realm of our existence. Now, so that's kind of, okay, you kind of see, it's like getting a corner piece, you know, you're like, okay, I see where the start of my little realm is over here. Then I take a look at your expression number. And your expression number really is helping you understand, okay, what is your how? How do you express yourself in this existence as an individual? Meaning, what do you have within your wheelhouse that is going to help you accomplish this spiritual importance? So let's say working in the realm of working with others in the realm of spirit. Now mine personally is the expression number 4. So this is about building firm foundations. It's about having a strong work ethic and kind of being the one who can toe the line, so to speak. It's not always the most glamorous number in numerology. It kind of gets a bad rap sometimes because it's like the boring workaholic. But that is how I express myself. I have that in my wheelhouse to be able to join any workplace or take on any endeavor and understand that through just simple, dedicated, hard work, following step by step, I can accomplish what I choose to accomplish. That's how I accomplish my goals, is through dedicated hard work. And now some people might say like, well, isn't that the way that you would achieve any goal? To a certain extent. It's an interesting thing that when we start to understand what our mode of expression is and how we are meant to move within this world, that sometimes it isn't always about hard work. You know, for every person who needs to do the studying and the hard work and the, you know, be diligent in that way, there is somebody who can just kind of move through life spontaneously. And again, there's both are needed, but this is about understanding where you specifically fit. So for me, I'd be able to say, okay, so through dedicated work, I'm able to build firm foundations. So I should start to really focus on that aspect of myself to understand this is what I'm capable of. I'm capable of accomplishing great things and building firm foundations through my dedicated work ethic. And then we take a look at your soul's urge number, which is something that I find incredibly important to understand because it directly correlates to your why. Why do I want to do anything? Why do I want to get up in the morning and engage with life? What is my motivation in taking action towards fulfilling my spiritual importance? Now, for me personally, that is the number 8. And the number 8 is about empowered leadership. It's about abundance. It's about the creation of abundance, physical abundance in this life. And it's also just about creativity. So there's an element here for me of my motivation is that why I want to take action and engage with the world is to expand physical abundance, as well as to fulfill a deep need within myself for empowered leadership, for being able to creatively express who I am and lead from that place. Now, when we understand our why, this is often where I find it's why I say it's one of the most important things to understand about ourselves, is because it's a place where we can actually feel a lot of guilt. We can carry guilt around our motivational core. We can also, this is where we can kind of get a little bit of this like emotional wounding or not wanting to engage ourselves on an emotional level because we may feel guilty that our underlying motive is to create physical abundance. You know, we live in a day and age where, you know, there's a lot to be said, especially within the spiritual community, about not focusing so much on the physical, wanting to make money, wanting to have belongings, wanting to just have things. But for some of us, that is a need that we have to fulfill. And that need comes specifically to allow ourselves to fulfill and express our spiritual importance in a way that's very specific to us. So again, this is kind of like the hinge point as to what makes each one of us not only singular and unique, but also what allows each one of us to have a different set of needs and to find emotional fulfillment from different things within life. Because if we all experienced the same emotional connection and the same needs and the same fulfillment from fulfilling those needs, we would be living in heaven. We would be living in some place that can't exist on earth, because at that point we would just all be the same. And there would be no dynamic tension, we would have no challenges, and there'd be no reason for us to really do anything because somebody else could fulfill exactly what we could fulfill. And instead, it's the opposite. Humanity needs tension to allow ourselves to grow, to allow ourselves to expand, to break open some of those dormant seeds that lie within us that are meant to be planted and grown, and that only we can grow. So the soul's urge number is a very important number. Now, both the expression number and the soul's urge number are based off of taking a look at your birth name, full name at birth, reducing those down and taking the letters, reducing them down into numbers that correlate with the letters, and then taking specific letters and breaking those down into a single numerological digit. So that's where that comes from. Now, I also combine this then with your astrological birth chart. So I'm going to kind of go quickly over all of the different aspects that I would look at. So I look at your sun sign, and your sun sign directly correlates to your spiritual importance. It correlates to your life path number. I take a look at your rising sign, which correlates to our expression number. It's how we are seen by others, and it's how we move in this world. I also then take a look at your moon sign placement, which directly correlates to your soul's urge number. Moon sign placement is very important in that, again, it also really highlights where we want to, not only where we act subconsciously, but where we act in a way that is most actually in alignment with who we are as a truly unique singular being, and where at times we can become emotionally wounded, because when we act from that place of just kind of spontaneously being ourselves, we can sometimes have people come out and say, whoa, that's a little too much. And so we end up kind of pulling back and hiding that. And really it's our moon sign placement that when we understand, again, our motivations and the why behind what I want to do and why I feel I want to act in this way instinctually, we start to break through those barriers of guilt, through those barriers of, I want to show this part of myself, but I can't, or I don't want to because I don't want to get hurt again, that kind of thing. And so it's the moon sign placements one I focus on quite a bit. Then we look at your Mars placement, and this also correlates again to your expression number, where you choose to take action, how you choose to take action. Then we take a look at your Mercury sign. Your Mercury sign is how you communicate. It's, again, another facet of your expression number. It's how you choose to communicate, and actually taking a look also at how you kind of view the world and how the external environment actually communicates back to you, how you take in information. And then we look at your Venus sign, which is all about value. What you value, how you value yourself, how you express your value out into the world, and how you most want to be of value. So that's how we get this really deep, broad, multifaceted, and dynamic look at who you are as a unique individual, to hopefully by the end of the reading be able to really flesh out your own superpowers. What you have to fall back on, so that you can always stay confident in understanding that any challenge that comes up, you have something within you that you can utilize to overcome it. And that you also start to see where you are best focused, where you are meant to fit, where you are meant to, again, elevate and stabilize some aspect of our greater collective experience. And when we all courageously choose to step up into doing this, this is when humanity can go through an extreme growth phase, when we get this beautiful kind of expansion. And I think, as much as we're going through a very kind of tumultuous and what can seem like a chaotic or dark time, the beautiful element of the human experience is that we do grow through conflict. We do grow through this feeling of needing to feel a little pressed, needing to feel like we need to understand, or we need to overcome this challenge, or we need to be able to overcome something so that we can see in ourselves the beautiful capability that the human being has to innovate, to elevate, to rise and grow, and to actually transcend what we think we are limited by. When you think of the evolution of, as far as what we know and understand about the human experience, you can see how humanity, I mean, if you think about going back to caveman times, and you think about, early man, it would be very hard to describe to early man exactly what your life experience is today. But yet it's all of those individuals who lived their life to the fullest that have allowed the next generation to build on that, and to build and to build and to build to where we are now. And so where we will end up being is probably beyond our realm of understanding. But the fact that each one of us carries so much beauty and so much emotional connection and so much love, the expansive quality of this, if we all choose to take responsibility for living ourselves into life and rising up into meeting our spiritual challenge, that what can be, I have every confidence, is something that is meant to be beautiful. And it is something that is meant to expand further beyond just this earth. It's meant to expand to outward into space, or into just a greater collective experience. And hopefully, maybe in doing so, we will also maybe meet other races or beings that are doing the same. I know not everybody believes in that, but the hope is that we are always going to be faced with new things, and that would be a new frontier, truly. All right, I hope that this has been an illuminating video. I want to leave you all with one last little, just something to keep in mind. Sometimes we feel as humans that we have to, when we want to feel like we are of service, or we feel like we need to fulfill a great importance in this world, we think that we need to do something grand, that we have to be the person who builds or creates the nonprofit organization, or that we have to join Doctors Without Borders, or we have to be the big sports star or world-renowned actor who inspires millions of people all over the world. And in reality, we are not asked to do that. We are asked simply, as being granted the really amazing experience of just being able to experience life itself, we are being asked just to live ourselves, to live our unique singular essence into life, so that one aspect of our experience can be experienced by the whole. When you think about it, each one of us can't experience everything, but at some point, each one of us can experience some aspect of our existence individually. So when you think about this, it's like, yeah, each one of us maybe will never be able to experience what it's like to have a invention that changes the face of humanity in that time. But we can, through the accomplishment of another who has done that, touch on what it feels like to be able to do that. And we can then draw inspiration from that. But we can also draw the same inspiration by somebody who chose to dedicate themselves to raising an incredible family and choosing to be a stand-up person within their small communal sphere, a small sphere of their community. We can read a story of somebody who led a very simple life, but led that simple life with awareness and lived it and lived themselves, their unique selves, into life, so that when you hear their story, you are touched by it. You are emotionally touched by it because you're emotionally connecting to that experience. And that really is what connects us all together. It is our individual stories that create the beautiful, ever expanding novel that is the true Ulysses of being a human being. So I hope that kind of leaves you with a sense of comfort, that you're not being asked to take on the woes of the world. You are simply being asked to live the best and brightest version of yourself and to not shy away from it. You know, there are some who are meant to be large heroic figures, that's true. But the majority of us are here to live quiet, fulfilled, and beautiful life existence so that we can all experience that beauty and that fulfillment and that peace that comes from knowing that we have a place to fill. And knowing that as we choose to fulfill our place, somebody else, having confidence that somebody else is doing the same on the other side. All right. I hope you will have a chance to check out my website and check out the reading that I discussed here. That reading will be on special for the month of April. I'm recording this in 2022, so if you're catching this at a later date and time, unfortunately, that special probably is not holding true. But for the month of April, I will be having a special promotional price. Instead of $150, that reading will be $111. This is my way to give back. I hope that I can educate as many people as possible on their own importance, and just to allow others to be able to tap into that feeling of, I see where I'm needed. I see why I'm needed. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope you have an illuminated